Hi again, everybody. You're traveling with me, Jack, and of course, as always, with my beautiful heavenly wife, Pam. And welcome to Sedona, Arizona. Or actually, we're outside of Sedona, checking out a trail that came recommended by some of the wildland firefighters here. It's a really hot day, probably in the 90s to near 100. So we've got to be careful about the trails we pick. And I was originally going to do what's called the Devil's Bridge. But the guys told me, they said, you know what? There's another trail you should go to that's got lots of shade. It's equally scenic, and we think you'll really enjoy it. So I said, all right, we'll check it out. And that's where we are now. We are checking out the Fay Canyon Trail. Now, we're in the sun now, but here in just a moment, we'll be in shade, and we'll show you what we'll be looking at as we check out some hiking near Sedona. Now, I want to point out it is a nice wide trail, so if there was any wildlife, or say an AKA snake, we should have no problem seeing it well ahead of time. And we're already starting to pick up a few hints of shade here and there. I can also tell you, I can feel the elevation, huffing and puffing a little bit more, as it's just a kind of a gradual ascent, but you will feel it in the heat combined with the elevation change here, again on the Fay Canyon Trail near Sedona. Okay, so we're probably maybe a quarter of a mile in, and we're certainly starting to pick up some of that shade they were talking about, which again is very welcome on a day like this. Also, the pine trees in here are emitting incredibly beautiful, strong scents that I'm picking up. And again, I am so glad I took the firefighters' advice, because this is absolutely gorgeous. And you can see that, yeah, while there's a heavy canopy of trees, we can look out beyond the trees, and you can see a lot of those famous red rocks, which of course is what Sedona is famous for. And speaking of those red rocks, take a look at this view now. We are just getting some awesome, spectacular viewpoints along this trail. You see, that's kind of like what we call a chimney rock there in the center, cast against that deep, dark blue sky. There are a few storm clouds building off in the distance, so we will need to remain aware of the possibility of thunderstorms. Certainly don't want to get caught in here, but again, this is proving to be the right decision on a hot day to get in a beautiful, beautiful hike. So I just looked, we're about a mile into this trail, and we continue to get just some awesome views of the red rocks. The good news is the heat, yeah, it's pretty doggone hot out here, but as quickly as you start to roast in that sun, you then hit a shady portion of the trail again. Again, this is a real godsend, having some trail that is covered with some shade. I mean, abundant shade on what is otherwise a really hot day. But thank goodness, of course, here in Arizona, no humidity to deal with. Also, keep your eyes open for some beautiful wildflowers. Take a look at those growing here along the trail. Absolutely gorgeous. Adds a little color to what's otherwise kind of a reddish, brownish, dry landscape here. So we've reached what's officially called the end of the trail. Ends up only being about a mile and a tenth. So round trip going to be a little over 2 miles. But you do have an option at the end of the trail to go way up and over those rocks and get a spectacular view back in through Fay Canyon. And of course, we came this far. We came up and over the top of those rocks to get this unbelievable view of Fay Canyon. Look at that. Spectacular red rocks. All this just minutes outside of Sedona. I highly, highly recommend this trail. Wow, was that quite a surprise when you got to the end of the trail? I know it was for me. And the payoff, even in the heat, was well worth it. Hey, keep watching, keep subscribing. Give it a thumbs up, share it, donate, whatever you'd like to do. Also check out the podcast, Love Letters to Pam. In the meantime, have a great day, better yet, a better tomorrow, and bye now from spectacular Fay Canyon, Arizona.